Hello, this is Will from GenerateWallStreet.blogspot.com. I'm here to review the trades for April 18th, 2012. I did better than I did yesterday. Even though I traded still quite a few tickers, I didn't really overtrade them as much, and I kept my volume relatively low, except for a few trades where I did load up in size. So with that said, let's go straight to the reviews. One of my first trades I made was in Seagate. This was kind of they had earnings, and I wanted to keep this on my radar. This was somewhat of a 5-minute inside bar play and somewhat of a tape trade. So I got in above here, and I sold some here, got back in here, and sold some here. The reasons why I kind of kept my entries really tight and my exits really tight and kind of against what you see on this chart is because I was trying to trade primarily off the tape. I wasn't very comfortable at keeping my size throughout the entire movement, or being able to get in fast enough. For example, there was some buying that shot this thing up, and 29 was probably a better entry. Instead, I waited for 15 cents later, and maybe had I better tape reading skills, I would see that I kind of held this area, and maybe I would have caught some to the 40s. Who knows? But still got to work on that. Another trade was in WAG. Had a pretty nice opening drive, came in, and a really nice second leg, and I saw it pull back, and it's kind of a slow trend lower and basing. So I got in on a little pullback play here. I wanted to get in earlier, but I actually paid kind of higher than I wanted, and I took the sales here, and that was that. But I kept my eye on this stock because for whatever reason I was thinking, cup versus cup and handle, it can keep going. So I kind of preemptively bought in this area, pretty much right where the cup line would have been. So that was kind of a dumb trade. I should have waited for pull-ins or for it to confirm the break above this area, but I just paid right at the top here, and I didn't have any choice, but I should have hit out right away, like right when this thing kind of dropped, but instead I waited till down here to hit out. Really bad trade. It left a bad taste in my mouth, but you make mistakes. Intel was another stock I traded. I knew that 28 was a level from yesterday. It just couldn't hold above it. And I also knew that 50 was somewhat of a level. And you can see both levels were in play today. Here it bounced off the 50 area, came here, and it tried to hold above 28, but it just couldn't. So I saw a inside bar setup. I believe it was a 30-minute inside, no, 15-minute inside bar setup right here. So I just wanted to get short, and I was thinking because it had trouble holding above 28, then this was somewhat of a trade to hold, and I was just gonna hold it the entire day and just let it do its thing. And it worked out initially. I probably should have took the measure move and got out here. The measure move would have been the length of this bar, which is about 18 cents. So if you look from my entry, which was about 95, would I have gotten 18? Not quite, but close. I should have thought about taking the sale, or maybe readjusting my stop or something, but instead I kind of just let it do its thing and eventually stopped me out towards the end of the day. NEM, I like the stock because if you look on a daily, had an inside day here and it's below the inside day. If you look on the weekly, inside week here and now it's below on the week on the inside day. And if you look on the yearly chart, we're at the 52 week low basically. So I thought, below the weekly, below the daily has a chance for more follow through. So I just kind of waited for a setup for me to enter in, and I noticed a 60-minute inside bar here. It's actually an inside bar. So I just took the short setup, which is below 80. below the 80 cents, and kind of just let it go, let it run. But towards the end of the day, it just didn't do anything. So I lowered my stop to break even. So I covered right at 80. Um, this stock would probably make more sense if I held it as a swing, but I didn't really want to hold it, so I just got out. LVS, strong move, pulled back, kind of retraced back up and pulled back again. So I thought I bought some of this pullback and I sold immediately at this kind of retracement high here. And I was expecting a little bit more follow through. Maybe my target was back to the high of the day or somewhere near there, but instead, LVS just dropped from there, and I set my stop pretty much where I set the rest of my core pretty much at break even. So I made a small profit on this. Cree had earnings yesterday too. It was trading, really bad earnings, came in kind of all over the place. No real direction yet until it made this kind of part of the pre-market high. And I was looking on a 30-minute chart and I noticed that I had a 30-minute inside bar right there. On top of that, if you look at it kind of sees a little more clearly on a 30-minute chart. But if you look here, how it was a kind of a pullback downtrend break. So now this entry had two things going for it. It's a break of a little pullback, plus it's the 30-minute inside bar short. So I took the short. The problem is, as this trade was going, I noticed that every time the bids would get down to around 70, then someone would just keep buying it back up, because you would expect a drop like this, a drop from a 30-minute bar and this pullback to just tank, but instead it kept being bought up. Every time it goes down, it kept being bought up. So I thought there has to be some sort of buying that's going on, and I wanted to be more conservative with my shares. So I just started covering some around the 70s here. Covered a little bit more as it went along, and this little shadow here got me stopped out because I was thinking above 75, and it's probably not a good thing. If you notice how these two candles were kind of right there. So once this thing happened, and it came back, I hit out. But overall, I mean, if it had followed through, it would have been a great trade. But still, I would take this trade all the time. Final trade was in CHK. This was purely a tape trade. So I was first alerted to the stock around this area. What I've been told was there was some buying going on at the 60, which you can see kind of clearly. 1, 2, 3 bars kind of bounced directly off of the 60. So there was a hidden buy program going, and then you see here it bounced off to 80 again. So what was happening on a tape was this: you would see a bunch of white prints at 80, followed by a lot of green prints at 81. So you have someone really some hidden order that keeps buying, and then pays the offer, buying, pays the offer, and you keep seeing that multiple times. It did it once here, came back once here again, once here again, and once here. So when I noticed this, I started to build a position. I bought 500 shares at 80, and then I looked and I saw that there was a 15-minute inside bar here. So I was thinking, okay, let me buy another 500 shares at 89. So eventually that kind of worked out because the buying kept continuing, Every time I dropped back, came back up, dropped back, came back up. But I took sales close to the hole, and at the 15, since it was kind of the last pivot high here. Then later, I try to recognize the pattern again down here. It sort of did the same. A lot of white prints, green prints, but more red prints. So it didn't really have any follow through or anything. But I gave this area a couple of tries. So hopefully I'll be able to spot something like this in the future, because it felt like I could really read it at the time, where the bids were just being bought up with the white prints, and then you see greens and you barely see any reds, and it just kept stepping higher, coming back, and then it'll hold a little higher, and it kept doing that. So it was really interesting to see that I was actually able to recognize that and actually make some trades off of that. So it was a good learning experience, and it was also the most profitable trade that I had today. But so that's that. I didn't make any swing trades or do anything with my swing position, which is now down to VVUS, which is still okay, still consolidating in this area. Not too concerned with it. Ren looks better now, has a little doji here, so hopefully it can continue to upside, but my stop is below 30, and I already sold half my calls for a decent gain. Tomorrow, there's a lot of things to watch tomorrow. Tons of earnings. Here, let me switch to my after hours chart. So you can see Yum after hours. Where is it? I don't see it here. But yeah, there was lots of stuff going on with Yum, FFIV. Here you go. Yum, kind of choppy, but should be in play tomorrow. FFIV initially down moved, and all of a sudden, boom, comes up, and pretty strong pattern. So it's gonna fill this gap for sure already, and it's around trading like up here. Who knows? 135, 140 might be might be possible. QCOM started off bad, gapped down quite a bit, but buyers brought it all the way back up a couple points. So should be interesting to watch tomorrow. eBay very strong off earnings, had to pull back, but keep an eye on that tomorrow. VMware 114 seems to be a possible level. I want to be able to kind of see what happens at this level tomorrow. There's also some earnings in the morning. I believe. Let's see who is earnings tomorrow morning. We have Philip Morris. Should be interesting. Inside day today, kind of did nothing today. Bank of America, EMC, UNH, UNP, FCX, MS, BX, ITB. You get the picture. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. So hopefully I could just pick the best ideas, maybe the ones that do the most volume in a pre-market, and the ones that gapped up the most or gapped down the most. So there you have it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.